So instead of the slam dunk, we had Lizzie had weekly visits with the biologicals.
That was awful.
Yeah.
We were like zombies. I mean, every Friday she would go off, and for 2 or 3 hours, she wasn't ours. You know, she went back to belonging to the state. You know,
it was a very strange sensation to be so totally responsible for her, and then she'd be gone for the 3 hours. And
these two people were able to manipulate the system multiple times to their benefit. They thought it was to their benefit. Ultimately, it was to their detraction, because they thought that they thought they were smart enough to beat the system, and ultimately they're not, because of their addiction. Things get out of control by April of 2009. That they had manipulated the system, that they were able to miss visitations and have them made up with absolute lies of excuses, and everyone knew it was a lie. And they would say, "Yeah, they're lying, but I."
But they were able to make up the visits.
They were able to make up the visits. Then they were able to avoid the drug testing. The hard part about the visitations taking place on Fridays was that if they tried to serve them with a notice for a drug screening, they had 24 hours to complete the drug test.
And it was closed on Saturday.
It was closed on Saturday, so giving them a notice on a Friday was like not giving them a notice. They didn't have to. And it ultimately culminated in late April with our judge granting unsupervised visitation in their home.
Which was really scary.
Pending a successful completion of their home study to take place within 7 days.
But the reason he granted that was at court that day, the state.
The state was not ready.
And they said, it looks like she's staying clean. They're staying clean. They hadn't been tested. And
the defense attorneys were able to.
Been tested.
Yeah, the defense attorneys were able to manipulate the facts to make it look like they were staying clean and getting a stable residence, when
but
in
they
fact
hadn't been tested.
They had a forged lease and had avoided being tested at all. And ours was just supposed to be an advisory hearing, just a status update, no big deal. And they didn't make any particular preparations, and they got caught off guard, and the defense attorneys just took advantage of that fact.
Yeah.
So they were granted unsupervised visitation pending the completion of their home study.
Which is really, really scary.
They had a week to get it done. So these two people knew they had a week to prepare for this, and the caseworker came out and looked over their residence and decided that it met the standards for a child to live in, which, with a week's notice, I would assume that they could have enough sense to get it cleaned and ready. This was on a Tuesday that this was done. It was not a Friday. So they were given a drug test referral. They went and completed their drug test and on the Wednesday, and the Thursday the results came back, and
positive.
They tested positive. When we were told by the caseworker on the phone, we were standing in the driveway, and we were just ecstatic. We just totally embraced and broke down in tears in the driveway. Not because they had failed, not because we were taking joy in their failure or the problems that they were having in their life. We didn't take any particular pleasure or joy in that. Our feeling was that the truth had not come out, that they had been on drugs the whole time, which was something we believed, that they had not reformed in any way, shape, or form. They were the same people that they had always been, and they had managed to conceal that from the courts. So we were ecstatic over the fact that the truth was now known. And the entire case, the dynamic of it changed from that point. They had painted themselves into a corner of they had to stay off drugs. And when they tested positive at that point, that late in their case plan, it meant the game was over. And there were a few formalities to go through. And we were always nervous going into them because we had seen so much go wrong over the previous months that we assumed nothing at that point. We had gotten our own attorney at that point. Ultimately, when it came down to the day of court, a trial date was set. We were not allowed to go to the trial. We were a party but not a participant to what was going on. We were allowed to go to the other court proceedings. We were not allowed to go to the trial because it did not directly affect us. It wasn't about us. It was about these two individuals. And when the day came, they showed just how much they cared for her by not showing up at all. And I think that's the telling thing, that we know we would have done anything for her. We got the attorney, we went to the courts, we suffered and struggled, and we would do anything for her. They wouldn't. And we always felt that that was the difference. And everything ultimately worked out like it was supposed to, and she's where she belongs.
The whole situation was just really difficult, and we did not know what we were getting into. Obviously, we would do it again because it's Lizzie. The other really scary thing was introducing Lizzie to her brothers, and then, worrying about whether she'd be taken away and sent back to the biologicals.
Yeah, and at the beginning we'd been assured it was a slam dunk, so we were like, here's your sister, now and forever. And then as the case progressed and the idea started getting into our head that, maybe we might lose.
That was scary.
That was scary of how we were going to try to explain that.
The parental rights were terminated, was just a really emotional day, and of course I cried, and the bailiff brought me Kleenex.
If you ever wondered, do bailiffs keep Kleenex on hand?
They do.
They very much do.
We got her on September 11th of 2008 and finalized on September 29th of 2009. Which with the boys, we had them in the house 90 days and poof, we're finalized. So it was a drastically different situation. So we had the finalization, and obviously my family came. The original caseworker came.
Mommy.
All about Lizzie and the kids, Lizzie and the boys.
Janice.
Janice.
This little girl now has the potential to do anything she wants to in life, and she has a chance for true happiness, and that's something that would have been denied her in her other reality. And we're glad that she had a chance at those things, a chance to make her dreams come true.
And we're glad that she's blissfully unaware of everything she went through, because
She
she's
will
lucky.
be told in
Yes.
due time when the time comes. She'll know the whole story. We will have no secrets from her or the boys. But for right now, let her not know.